We're going to start off with new releases, and the first song we're going to discuss is Twice's recent comeback, I Can't Stop Me.
And I can't stop me from loving this comeback. See what I did there? Anyway, I love the song. I think, again, it follows this new sort of wave of retro sound that's sweeping K-pop right now. But they did it so well. I thought the video was cute. It wasn't super great, but it was super nice. It was well done. The choreography was great. The vocals were great. I think Twice has definitely become that group that I think they've improved so much, and it's like they keep getting better. Like, the choreography was great, the vocals were great, and like I said, it was just an all-around another great polished song.
Yeah, Twice definitely brought it this comeback. I mean, they always bring it, but I think we're seeing a more mature side of them, and this is just the next level to that maturity.
I kind of wish that this was released before More Is More, because I feel like this would be a great, strong contender for Song of the Year, and I really think like this solidifies them as a contender at this year's Mama Awards to sweep everything.
Set them on fire.
So the next release we're going to talk about is CL's long-awaited comeback, and she not only came back with one single, but she dropped two. But the one we're going to discuss today is Hua.
Okay, the one good thing is I like the fact that she really was trying to showcase her Korean culture and really put that in the forefront, and I thought that was great. However, CL's been through a very rough 3 years, and I was looking forward to see her really be evolved and bring maybe some vulnerability, bring a new side, and it was kind of just what she was giving us with Baddest Female. I think the thing is, CL is one of those acts that is now very dated, and I think we're now in a stage of the industry where we have a lot more female soloists giving us solid, elevated performances. CL, I don't think, has it to compete with this class of soloists. I think she doesn't really bring anything fresh or new to the table. And I think, yes, there's nothing wrong with being braggadocious and saying you're that girl, but you haven't been that girl in years. So I'm expecting you to bring something else besides being that girl.
Well, I think I'm going to defend her a little bit. I think for this comeback, she wanted to do an homage to her heritage, but also bring that element that made people fall in love with her. And, you know, we know her for the 21 sound. We know her for being the baddest female. So I think for this release, she wanted to kind of embody all of those sounds. And that's why it sounds outdated. But despite that, it was just great to see her back on stage, because CL is just one of those soloists that you can't take out of K-pop history. Like, she was definitely one of those acts that brought honor and brought fame towards the Korean landscape. So I'm definitely excited to hear her debut album, because this is the album we've all been waiting for, and it's taken so long. And I'm kind of curious to see what that's gonna sound like. Is it gonna sound like Hua? Is it gonna sound like something new? We don't know. This is just a single that she released to kind of like introduce people to her again. But I do agree with Lee in some aspects, but at the same time, I feel like just seeing her back and her presence is just so amazing. I definitely missed CL, and I think that having her back is gonna be great for music. We just gotta let her take some time to, you know, show us what she's got.
I think, like I said, CL, your album is kind of overdue. So if you're giving a sound that is trapped in 2013, this album will be a flop. So pull it together.
So the next release we're going to discuss is Mino's Running Away.
I loved it. I think this is what I've been preaching about, where he's inspired by his influences and not wearing his influences. Like, yes, there was an obvious YG Big Bang aesthetic to it, but it was still very him, and it was still very his art. And I thought this is a great example of a K-pop artist being fresh. And it's harder for active idols to give us freshness and give us something new every comeback because, you know, they're active. That means that they're putting out music fairly often throughout the year. But I think he's come such a long way since Show Me the Money, such a long way since, I think, Mix and Match, that show. And I think he's really proving himself to be a great lyricist and a great force in the hip-hop scene in Korea. So kudos, girl.
Moving on, the next single we're going to discuss is TXT's Blue Hour.
Who are you and what have you done with TXT? Because honestly, I was not a TXT fan, but I think with this comeback, they had given me that disco sound that they were trying to do with Dynamite. These kids did it, and I was living because it gave me Shiny. Oh my god, it gave me Newest. It was such a great just song, and it really was fresh. It was age appropriate. It was something that was just so easy to listen to. The styling, I love the crop tops. I love that we're really trying to like make that sort of like male friendly as well.
This song definitely changed my opinion about TXT. Prior to this, I just felt like they were riding off on the success of BTS, you know, and I didn't feel like they had proved themselves, but I think this comeback was definitely them proving to everyone, you know, the talent that they have. And I do agree with Lee, the song was very age appropriate. Also gave me very NTC Dream, but like a little grown up version of them. Still bubblegum pop, but at the same time it was very polished. 10 out of 10.
Next on the docket for judgment and evaluation is Secret Number. It gave me very like Wonder Girls vibe. You know, Wonder Girls were the queen of like that sort of like retro iridescent type of music. And I loved how like it really gave us 80s, but it was still really modern. It gave me Wonder Girls meets ITZY, and it was just really great in terms of the graphics.
I thought one of the members looked just like Rosé, and she was even giving you Rosé vocals.
Denise.
And then there was another member that looks just like Sumney. So that's why I was like, whoa, I'm getting JYP vibes from this music video. It's surprising to see how all of these new girl groups are so put together, and it makes you excited because you're wondering, oh, how are they gonna top this? Like, what's gonna be their next song?
Well, girl, no shade. This is the 4th generation approaching the 5th generation. Of course you have to be together, because it's like I feel like K-pop has come such a long way. It's like at this point, basic bitch is not wanted. We don't do have K-pop at this street mamas. And so I live for it. But let's move on to why we're really here. The shock, the scandal, the oh my god. I was at home one day, doing what most people do when they're at home, drinking a glass of rosé, and I get alerts on my phone, you know, from my news source, that is CC, about a shift in the force, if you will. And let's talk about this cheating allegation, possible
Mile High Club.
Mile High, possible may or may not have an STD, Park Chanyeol. Cece, do you want to take it away, girl?
So it was Wednesday the 28th. Korea Boom released an article in which Chanyeol's ex-girlfriend wrote an expose about him after they broke up, and she found out that he had cheated on her with multiple women. So I'm gonna actually read the translation that was posted on Twitter and the article.
Yeah, so I'll give commentary, girl.
Hi, Chanyeol.
Hey, girl.
I don't know if you monitor DC, a Korean online community. For those who do not know, I'm writing a confession for the first time in my life because of you. I expect you'll be surprised, considering you probably think we broke it off pretty maturely. Past 3 years, I spent being fooled by you and been ruined in the most disgusting ways possible. Chanyeol, this is your karma that you started. Now she goes into the story. In late October of 2017, you asked a friend of mine for my number. We started getting to know each other like any average couple would. And through your confession, we started a serious relationship. Recently, with our 3rd anniversary coming in, I learned a few shocking truths about you, and I didn't want to believe them before I saw and heard it with my own eyes and ears. I trusted you every time you denied it. But during these 3 years we dated, you were someone's first time, someone's one-night stand, and every night while I was cluelessly asleep, you were having fun with a new woman. There were girl group members, YouTubers, Korean BJs, dancers, flight attendants, and more. Did you have fun? You were more notorious than I could have ever known. Everyone knew how dirty you were. Everyone knew except me and your fans. I remember being confused when one of your members showed interest in me and you couldn't even say a word to him. I realized the reason you could never confront him was because you always talked shit about him behind his back. You know how I used to always jokingly say that if you wanted to cheat, do it in secret so I'll never know? Well, I'll never knew that you'll actually bring the joke to life. And if you're the least bit human, you wouldn't have done it with people I know. The funniest thing is that even if you stopped denying it, when I started listing the names of the girls you slept and ate and played with, the least you could have done was pretended it wasn't true. I admit, I'm partially to blame for trying to protect you without knowing the piece of shit you were, and falling for someone like you haven't done anything wrong for these past 3 years. I hid every single photograph we took together in case anything would be leaked, keeping you a secret to all of my friends so it would be less of a threat to your work. When you said to me one day you'd kill yourself if anything were to happen to your music career because of scandals, I trusted those words and protected you regardless of anything. Please be human. I'm not going to go further because things will get really messy. I hope the world sees what kind of bastard you are, and don't try to contact me ever again. So that was the expose she dropped exclusively to Korea Boo. My first reaction is, what? He had a girlfriend for 3 years? Like, I know there were rumors about him having a Japanese girlfriend, and there were so many people who believed in the theory that he's actually dating Baekhyun in real life. I never believed that girl, but I was like, rest in peace to the Chambeks, because they were definitely crying that day when this was released. And then after that, I was like, okay, hold on, let me read this, because she's spilling some tea. So I went back and I was like, okay, who is the member that he hates? Because last time I checked, EXO is supposed to be like all friendly with each other. Like, they have this, I wouldn't call it a front, but now that I'm reading this, I'm like, they have this front where they all kind of act like they like each other, but apparently to her there is some tension between the members. So that was my second reaction. My third reaction was, okay, who is the member she is outing? I didn't read that sentence here because, in case this is proven false, I don't want to spread misinformation, but in the letter, there's a sentence where she hints at the possibility of one of his best friends being gay. I've been into K-pop for so long, but this is like one of the most scandalous rumors that I've ever heard. It was so scandalous, but at the same time, a lot of people believe it. So now I'm going to let him give his opinion about this entire scandal.
I have never seen someone so desperate to be acknowledged in my life until I read this. Hey, whatever your name is, because that's how relevant you are. I don't even know your name. You knew what you were signed up for when you were dating him. You were with him for allegedly, 3 years? So, girl, you were content being in silence and being in the shadows. So, girl, I don't know why you're speaking up now. Second of all, you used to joke with him if he cheats on you, do it in private. That means you probably knew he was cheating on you. So basically, you were so desperate for his love and affection, you stayed in an unhealthy relationship. Yes, Chanyeol is a pig, a fuckboy. But for you to be so desperate to be acknowledged as his girlfriend, you took a private relationship that, to be honest, no one cares about who you are. Do you really want to be remembered as the girl that Chanyeol cheated on? Because that's what you are now. You were so desperate to be the girl that dated Chanyeol, even though you settled to be his private shadow girlfriend for 3 years. Now you decide to speak up? Girl. And I love how, like, when people will be like, oh, I'm going to leave it at that because this is going to get messier. You knew this was going to be a mess. You knew. Listen. Clearly, you need some type of validation that your parents did not give you as a child, so that's why you're doing this. That voice you found, I need you to rip that out of your throat and lock it in the closet. Because the fact that you are so desperate to be acknowledged by the public, again, I'm rephrasing this, you rather be the girl that let him cheat on you to the public. Girl, if you were so sick of being in private for the last 3 years, why didn't you leave sooner and found a guy that was willing to claim you in public? To be honest, in the words of one of my favorite white women, Eleanor Roosevelt, no one makes you feel inferior without your permission. You let him do that to you. Ew, girl. Clearly you're not that pretty enough to upgrade from him. So, girl, get your shit together. See a therapist, get a plastic surgeon, because you are just looking desperate. And so, yes, he fucked around with your friends. Clearly they weren't your friends to begin with if they let your boyfriend fuck them. So you need, get better friends. Get better self-esteem. Learn to love yourself. And if you want to be known for something, get there based on your talents and your accolades. Don't coat ride Chanyeol'S accolades and success because you couldn't get there on your own. And honestly, if SM sues you, you deserve it. Because you are trying to act like the victim when I see what you're doing. You want the infamy. You want to be known as his girlfriend. So you rather degrade yourself to do that. So I'm not even applauding you. You've now set women back 40 fucking years. And I hope you're proud of yourself. Because, girl, you're probably ugly on the inside, making you ugly on the outside. So you're just an ugly bitch.
Oh my god, you just shaded her to filth.
And if anyone knows this girl, listen to it, tag her in this and have her respond to this love letter. Because at this point, girl, you're being desperate. And no one looks cute desperate, especially a bitter bitch. Next.
The validity of the story is being questioned as the days go on. So this was originally posted to a Korean website, and then the person who originally posted it deleted it immediately as soon as the story blew up when Korea Blue posted a translation. And then more people started coming out saying, how disgusted they were with Chanyeol. And one person in particular claimed to be Baekhyun's friend because people were speculating that Baekhyun is the member that Chanyeol hates and can't stand. So one of their friends came out and they posted this comment. You're a friend who was greedy but also filled with ambition. We came to know each other through Baekhyun, and I thought you were a better person than I expected. But then I thought it would be best if I just remained friends with you when I heard the rumors about you and heard about the way you talked. I think my gut feelings and thoughts were not wrong. The current situation is your karma. I told you should be careful with how you talk to people because the way you sometimes talk made me frown automatically. You probably don't know what you said to me back then, but I remember it clearly. You said that the people who like you will like you no matter how you are. I realize you don't even have the minimum respect towards the people who like you, support you, and trust you. You should admit you have no talent in music. You should also be aware that the people actually talented in music laugh at you when they see you. You would always say you'd kill anyone who hinders your music career. Well, you probably never imagined my friend recorded you. You probably are so angsty you almost shit in your pants. You should self-reflect before blaming others and apologize to your friends for once. Do you think I would shield and protect you if you called me to tell me this and that? You know my personality. You should have been prepared to hear nothing good from me. Please wake up. Baekhyun doesn't even like you.
Okay, so you also miss, I don't know what roach nest you crawled out of. We're not going to sit here and act like Chanyeol's not talented. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to act like he's Kris-Wu. Are you Baekhyun's friend? Can I get a receipt? Can I get a text message? Can I get a photo of you together? Cece, please explain, where are these people coming from?
Hours later, Baekhyun actually replied to this, and he tweeted on October 30th, "Who is my acquaintance? Mosquito? Oh, you guy."
So what does that mean? That he doesn't know her?
I don't know her.
So along with the original article, there were some pictures that were released that was so-called evidence that this woman was dating Chanyeol. But a lot of fans have debunked those images, saying that they're false and they're photoshopped. So there was one account that actually showed a side-by-side of the original image and the altered one. So a lot of, people are saying, okay, if these photographs are photoshopped, then the entire story is fabricated. But the craziest thing about this is that SM has yet to release a proper statement. Yes, they did release a statement a couple days ago saying that they have no comment. But at the same time, it's like, why would you say that as a statement versus we're going to look into the situation and let you guys know whether or not this is true or false? I just feel like SM, again, is showing that they don't really care about their artists.
I have a theory. I think SM right now is assembling a team of lawyers, because Chanyeol is one of the most bankable figures in SM at this point. I think SM is really trying to do everything behind closed doors at this point. They're really trying not to bring more light to this situation. But behind closed doors, this girl probably has a cease and desist knocking at her door. And they're probably ready to sue the frack out of her. If these photos are doctored and fake, and it turns out that you are a fraudulent bitch, which, to be honest, what if Baekhyun's friend and the girlfriend is really the same person?
So according to the investigation that exo-m did, the original person who posted the story is actually a guy. So people are saying that he's an EXO anti and that he usually, leaves a lot of hate comments on articles with EXO. And so they're saying it's just a hater who made up this entire fake story and it just blew up.
I just think for those fraudulent people trying to tear people down, you'll get yours day soon enough. And Chanyeol, keep your head up. Definitely wrap it up in a condom, but you're free to fuck whoever you want, Chanyeol.
Since we just got finished talking about the Chanyeol scandal, I think that for this look back segment, we should definitely discuss all of the EXO scandals. Now, this is something that we've wanted to do for a long time as EXO-Ls and just as K-pop reporters. It's been a while since these controversies happened, so I think we've had enough time to digest the situation and kind of talk about it in a very objective way.
So let's go down the rabbit hole, shall we? Because I feel like EXO has aged rapidly as a group because they're constantly getting into scandals. The first scandal we're going to talk about is when Chris Wu, aka Chris Harriet Tubman, flooded SM in the middle of the night like a slave flooding a plantation in the deep south.
You think Harriet Tubman was walking around with a fucking nice shiny fucking dress on with a fucking crown on her head when she was taking slaves to freedom?
Culturally relevant today. Yeah, when Chris left the group, I think a lot of people were really shocked because, this was during the Overdose era. They blew up and established themselves during Growl. But it wasn't until Overdose that's when they really catapulted into the juggernauts that we know today. And it was kind of really sudden. Like, a lot of the members apparently didn't know he left. Tao having breakdowns on social media. And, it was really crazy because you thought for a group that just is becoming super successful, why would he leave when everything was getting good? And it got so bad that he sued SM to get out of his contract. And it wasn't until years later, after a string of music, he talked about how he hadn't seen his mother in a couple years. He was just working. He just felt really exhausted. And he felt like he wasn't being appreciated as the Chinese member he was. And Kris really served an important role. He was the leader of exo-m, which was the Mandarin subunit of EXO. Back then it was exo-m and exo-k. And he was the leader. He was the main rapper. Arguably, Kris was definitely one of the best visuals in the group. Kris can serve face. And so when he left, it was really shocking, especially since, you know, EXO gave that vibe off that they were all brothers and they were all friends. And, you know, when he left, that definitely shook us a lot. And then soon after Kris leaving, we lost my child, Luhan. And, you know, that was also really shocking because Luhan was arguably one of the top 5 most popular members. He was a main dancer. He was one of the main singers. He was really a face of the group. Later, it came out that, again, it was for similar reasons of not being paid what he should, being overworked, being exploited, and he didn't feel like he was getting the same respect as his Korean members, especially since he was like, I'm one of the most popular people here, but I'm still not getting valued at the same level. And then Tao. The Tao saga. Oh my god, Tao needed a hug. He needed a therapist. He needed an access to eyeliner and all the Gucci's because in the middle, Tao got injured really bad. You saw him, there were videos released of him in crutches getting his own medicine, struggling, and it got so bad, his billionaire father wrote a letter, a public statement, begging SM to stop mistreating his son, to take him out of his contract, to let him be, to love him right. And so, like, legit, it was really a lot. And he ended up leaving, suing. He did this interview crying for Chinese media, talking about how he's sorry about what he said about Kris. He understands why Kris left because, you know, a lot of fans, a lot of exo-Ls were coming for him saying, it's funny how you left the group when you criticized Kris leaving the group and you dragged him on social media and now we go drag. It was so much. And like, obviously, these young men have gone on to do successful things. Luhan has gone on to, like, release a string of hits in China. He was in a really big movie, Great Wall, with American actress Matt Damon. Tao has released music, living off of his wealth and glamour. Kris is a model.
Some say he's a rapper.
Some say he's a rapper. Oh, some say he's a rapper. He's a model. You know, I'll give him actor because, you know, he's done some things. But, you know, to say he's a rapper.
So the second wave of scandals involving some of the members dating, and a lot of people at the time were saying that the reason why these scandals were even released was to distract the public from thinking about the members who left. It was revealed by Dispatch that Baekhyun and Taeyeon were dating during the overdose era. So that was during the time when Kris and Luhan were leaving the group. So, you know, I think that was a really shocking thing for a lot of fans. One, because Taeyeon, again, was in the height of her fame. She was in the group Girls' Generation. She was one of the most popular members. And, you know, Baekhyun is sort of a rookie in a sense during those years because he was from one of the newest boy groups in the company. So it was kind of scandalous to see one of the seniors date, you know, a Hombe. Unfortunately, Taeyeon got, like, the worst end out of all of this. She got a lot of criticism. A lot of the exo-Ls really hated her. Even when she was, you know, traveling for her schedules, she was getting a lot of hate from people that just showed up to see her just to, like, basically verbally attack her and call her names. And there's even videos of her in the airport that you can search for on YouTube, and you can see, you know, her visibly being shaken up and just very anxious. And I think she talked about it later after they had broken up, saying that those are one of the worst years in her life because of how much anxiety she developed from the backlash that she got from the public about dating Baekhyun. So unfortunately, we haven't seen them interact much after that because, you know, that was a traumatic time in her life, and I don't think she kind of wants to relive that. So that was one of the first dating scandals. The second one involved Kai and Crystal, and again, it wasn't as controversial as Taeyeon and Baekhyun because I feel like this was a pairing that a lot of fans wanted for the longest time. You know, they were the top visuals of their group. They were also in the same year, same age, so a lot of people were just happy to see that their favorite pairing is actually dating in real life. So unfortunately, you know, Taeyeon, out of all of the EXO girlfriends, I think she's dealt with the most hatred because, you know, Kai ended up dating Jennie as well from Blackpink, and there wasn't a lot of hatred towards her. In fact, I saw a lot of support and a lot of EXO-Ls saying, you know, now we're adopting Jennie and we're going to protect her because, you know, Kai is dating her and all of these things. So I think we briefly mentioned our opinions about idols dating in one of our YouTube videos. I think it was bisexuals in K-pop because we did talk about the Kai Stoll situation, but just for those who haven't watched that video, what is the message you want fans to hear in regards to their idols dating?
Well, I think companies like to use a false sense of availabilities to market their idols, and I think because of that, people like to get, I think, a little bit overly invested in these idols. Here's the thing. I think it's very normal for idols to date, especially dating each other, because they're surrounded by each other constantly. It would be kind of silly not to assume that sparks wouldn't fly. And I think as fans, we need to understand that their public persona is different than their private persona. And I think if you guys support these idols, I think them dating shouldn't be a problem to you, especially since 10 out of 10 times you don't end up with your idol crush or your bias. You don't. So I just feel like people need to get over that idea that these idols are romantically available to you when they're not. And you should just let them date in private. The last scandal will be EXO at the Mamas. So, the last scandal we're talking about is the evening of 2017 when EXO was victim and the first major case of Mnet's voting riggery. So basically, this was the night, it was during the war era. You had hits like Cocoa Puffs, you know, Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Puff in the word of Baekhyun. The Eve. I just did the dance and it was slayed. And so basically what happened was this. People thought that this would be the year, 2017, when EXO was going to deliver a clear, and if you can pull up the winners and nominees of that night, that would be great. But EXO, this is the year that people assumed EXO was going to deliver a clear and clean sweep of the Asian Mnet Music Awards. Because that year, literally, all people could talk about was EXO. And so EXO was in the lead for majority of the categories. But a lot of fans started to get really upset because when you looked at voting, and
Chanyeol was even crying on stage.
Chanyeol was breaking the fuck down because a lot of people were like, wait, if they have the majority of the votes, why weren't they winning?
Basically, during the award show, there was a lot of fucked up things happening that was angering both EXO and the fans. For example, they had cut the performance shorter. They were having technical difficulties, even though they already had like a rehearsal like the rest of the artists. And the rest of the K-pop fans who were there gave EXO a black ocean.
A black ocean is when literally when an artist comes on stage, there is no light stick, there's no lights. And what that symbolizes in K-pop, it generally means that you have no supporters and no one really fucks with you. And so for a group that went from being so beloved to suddenly one night on the biggest nights of their career, when they won a historic 5th time for Album of the Year, the whole auditorium went black. And a lot of people were really outraged because how can you have an artist perform at your award show and not have their supporters there.
Let's actually discuss the riggery and the voting scandal.
And the continuous riggery.
Yeah. So this had to do with voting because, as we all know, you can vote for the Mama Awards online. But at the time, exo-L's had noticed that there was a spike in the number of votes for BTS all of a sudden, like randomly. The online voting for Mama requires a participant to vote in all of the categories, which includes Best New Male Artist, Best New Female Artist, Best Male Group, and Best Female Group, among others. In other words, the total number of votes should be identical in every category. However, there was an observation that the total count differed for every category, and the sudden surge in polls at certain hours suggested rigging in the system. Fans demanded an explanation for the anomaly. Mnet later confirmed the fraudulent action, and some artists suffered a reduction in the votes as a consequence. But Mnet didn't address this during the live show. They had given the award to, I think it was BTS for Best Male Group. But in actuality, EXO had won the award.
Mnet should have given EXO an apology, and they should have corrected. Also, let's talk about the continuous riggery, because we had found out through our research and development that Big Hit Entertainment owns a stake in Mnet. They have a partnership with Mnet, aka a stake. I just think it's crazy. The 2 years that BTS has swept the awards, and since BTS has these large production numbers, it's been the years that since their partnership. I think that's a little crazy, and I think that's very problematic. I don't think that a company should have a stake in a Korean broadcast station, because I think that creates a level of unfairness with artists. Then, no tea, no shade, JYP should buy stakes of melons, and then every year Twice is gonna win awards. You know, it's not fair, because then it's like clear that BTS is getting awards based on connection and nepotism than actual artistic achievement. And ARMY can come fight me. When people say you're the king of something, it means that you are undisputed. Like when bitches say Twice is the current queens of K-pop, it's because you cannot argue with Twice's success and accolades and what they have done for the genre. What has BTS really done for the K-pop genre? And if you compare the trail that someone like EXO has blazed versus BTS, I find it crazy that they're getting sweeps at the mamas. First of all, your albums, your songs, your production numbers, you know, they're fierce. I'm not gonna lie, they're everything. But like, it's crazy because when you look back on this scandal and then other scandals in the past EXO's has, doesn't it seem really boring now, these scandals? Like back then, these scandals were everything. But don't you feel now like these scandals are kind of like, at this point?
Yeah, and I think it's a question that I want to pose to Lee in the audience, and it's like, why do you think the scandals were so big at the time, and now that we look back, it's like, wow, it wasn't that big of a deal?
K-pop has changed so much. I think K-pop has gotten so much more provocative, where I just feel like members leaving is normal, dating is normal. And talking about the rig, because, you know, now in this segment, we're going to be talking about the mamas, and we're going to be watching it closely. But talking about Rigamores, I find it a little adorable that you can only vote for 2 categories now.
That you're only required.
Oh, you're only required. Oh, girl. See, covering tracks. I see, but we'll be watching closely. In this segment, we're going to be going through the nominees. We're going to talk about who should rightfully win versus who most likely will win. Sometimes popularity doesn't reflect actual artistic talent and integrity. So we're going to go through, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to vote together. Let's start with what category, Cece?
Artist of the Year.
My main thing is for Artist of the Year, I'm going to pick an artist who delivered the best music this year. I think GOT7 had a really great year. They released an amazing single, Not By the Moon. I think Twice had an amazing year. I think NCT had a great year. Mamamoo. Why is Super M not here?
A reason why Super M was not nominated is because technically Super M is a group that's made to promote in America. They really haven't promoted in Korea.
Your final vote. Who do you think?
Who's gonna win this category will be BTS because of the ARMY.
Also, their stake in Mnet.
But I think the artists who are deserving are NCT, Twice, and a soloist among them. I would actually say Chanyeol. Okay, so we're gonna vote live, and we're gonna do rock, paper, scissors.
Oh my god.
So pick one artist, and I'll pick one, and then we'll do rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, I think it should be Twice because I think...
Okay, so you go for Twice. I'm gonna go for Taemin.
Okay, do you want to say my reasoning for Twice?
Yeah.
Is because I think when last has we had a female group win Artist of the Year?
I'm gonna go for Taemin just because I feel like he's had a long-standing career as a soloist, but I haven't seen that been celebrated. And I do think this was his year, unfortunately, as Sam fucked it up with promotions, and because of COVID, he couldn't really go full out. But I think Taemin is that soloist that always produces best music. There's not a single Taemin song that I hate.
True. Okay, ready?
So we're gonna do rock, paper, scissors, okay? You go Twice on tune, okay?
Best 2 out of 3.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, no, wait, what? Hold up. Okay, go.
The second. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
No! Oh no! But Lee Taemin has it. Don't do it. Where's your feminism? Do it for the girls.
This is where the Red Velvets come and sing "Call Me Misogynist."
Do it for the girls.
Okay, I'll vote for Twice.
Yay!
Okay, we're voting for Twice.
Yes. Okay, Song of the Year. I'm caught between NCT 27, Kick It, and ITZY's Wannabe. I think those are the 2 best songs of the year. With no shade, Obsession and more kind of creeping into the back, but I would give it to ITZY.
You know, as an EXO, I would want to give it to Obsession, but that song was so last year. I'm gonna pick Jessie Nunanana. So let's do rock, paper, scissors.
Kai by Bo. Kai by Bo. Yes! Period!
Okay.
It's a JYP type of year. Okay, now we're going to Worldwide Fan Choice. So is this the award for fan favorite of the year?
Yeah, so why didn't they nominate Super M for this?
Robbery. I think we should give it to EXO only because that,
All right, that's it. They're not even going to play this. EXO gets that. Best new male artist.
Period. Personally, out of all 5 of these groups, my favorite song is actually The Twilight Hour from them. So my vote goes to Weh.
I'm going to vote for them just for my friend because she's a huge Kim Yoo-han stan.
Period.
So,
Kim Yoo-han.
If you're listening to the podcast, girl, I'm voting for them. So vote for EXO.
And no tea, no shade. We'll probably make another count to vote again. Next is...
Best new female artist.
Yes, queen.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Secret Number. Because I really like the song that we saw,
Next on the docket is Best Male Group. So, we all know BTS is going to win this category. But if this world was fair and just,
I think NCT deserves it. They worked so hard this year.
I think NTC, in terms of they've been the group with the most consistent content.
And they've been so active.
But I would say GOT7 only because I think Not By the Moon is arguably the best song up on the docket.
All right, so let's do this. I'll pick NCT to GOT7. Cow by Bo. Cow by Bo. Cow by Bo. Oh no!
It's a JYP type of day, girl. Best female group. So
Twice.
More is more. Yes. Period.
We don't even have to talk about this.
Best male artist. Lee Taemin.
Okay, Lee Taemin, we love you. Best female artist.
Period. IU has won this category a lot in the past, so girl, you should give it to someone else. I really feel between Hwasa or Chang'e.
But I think Hwasa, because she did so good with Refund Sisters and Mamamoo, and also her solo stuff.
So Hwasa.
Yeah. Sorry, Chang'e. I voted her though.
I thought you were gonna do Sunmi because you live for Sunmi.
Girl.
Not anymore.
I was not looking for her. Girl, let's not talk about it because that's another episode. Like, best dance performance solo.
So I'm caught between Con Daniel and Lee Taemin because they're both equally amazing performers.
But I think Taemin deserves it.
Okay, yeah. I was not gonna put, We love you, Con Daniel.
Best dance performance for a male group. Honestly, I want to give this to EXO because that was such a performance.
But what about Kick It? Because Kick It, no shade. That dance has been covered more than any dance this year, girl.
But what dance is more memorable?
Kick It.
Girl, no.
You would say okay.
Girl, let's do this.
Okay, no. Can you do one move from Obsession? Do it. Can you do one move? Tell me how that dance goes.
It's hold on. I can't do it right now because I'm sitting.
Oh, good. Stand up.
No, it was just so iconic. Kai with the crop top.
Can you say anything about the crop top?
I just like the song.
Okay. Well,
okay, no, but
you could have. Well, okay.
Let's do this. Okay. NCTXK.
Okay.
Kawaii.
Bitch.
Kawaii.
Oh, bitch.
Oh, no.
Here, you know what? Cause this is an XOL station. We'll give it to EXO.
No. I'm gonna play fair. I'm not like the
No,
armies.
it's fine.
Wait, I'm not like the armies.
No, cause no tea, no shade. They'll probably win this in real life anyway. So EXO does need the vote. Best dance performance female group. It's C.
Yeah, hands down. Best vocal performance by a soloist.
I actually really am a big fan of Hyun Baek, and I think this song, Square, was actually a really great vocal song. But it's something about Baekhyun that just gets me, girl.
So you're gonna give it to him?
I'm gonna give it to Baekhyun. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us for another thrilling episode of the K-Pop Bible. Thank you for spending your time with us. Cece, if they want to find us, where can they find us?
So you can follow us on Twitter at K-Pop Bible Online. Check out our YouTube channel, K-Pop Bible. And listen to our podcast on anchor.fm under K-Pop Bible and Spotify. You can just search for the K-Pop Bible.
Links will be down below. And thank you guys so much. Annyeong.